friends, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Julie and welcome. Today I am sharing the rest of my finds from our 2-week road trip. My husband and I recently jumped in our camper and we traveled across parts of Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, parts of California, which is our home state. And last week I posted our haul video from Durango, Colorado. It was a big one. I will post the link to that video below. We hit the thrift stores, the antique booth store in town, the flea market, the farmer's market. We hit so many amazing places in Durango and we found so many amazing treasures. The bulk of the items that I brought back home were definitely from our 5-night stay in Durango, and today's haul is going to be a bit on the smaller side. I was practicing being intentional on this entire trip. I was only picking up items that I truly loved, items that maybe I didn't already have or I was running low on. So I was being very, very intentional. So the rest of this haul is going to be very small. And at the tail end of it, I'm also going to add on 3 items that I picked up from a local Salvation Army before we left on our trip, because that means my desk will be officially clean. I won't have any stacks or things waiting to film videos for. So I am very excited. My desk, aka the dining room table, is going to get a huge reset today. It's going to be cleaned off and I can actually sit on the other side of the table after this video. So, okay, let's get started. And the first place we hit up was a Goodwill in Flagstaff, Arizona. That was probably the first official, like day 2 of our trip. I do have a few regrets that I didn't grab a few more books while we were in that store. I have to say I've never been in a Goodwill that had such an amazing selection of items. Let me grab my receipt here. Let me see if I can see. I don't know how many Goodwills are in Flagstaff, but this particular one was on 701 South Milton Road in Flagstaff. I wanted to tell you that. But, oh my gosh, it was a whole wall of books, I want to say. It wasn't aisles like my Savers, but it was definitely a whole wall. And there were lots of antique books and beautiful books. But because it was the first thrift store that we hit up on our trip, I didn't really want to overload. And in fact, I think going into that store and seeing such a selection, it made me excited that I was going to find amazing books and amazing things on our trip. But I have to say, outside of Durango, I didn't really find a lot. So I do have a few regrets that I didn't pick up a few more of the antique books that I came across. But one of the books I was excited to find, oh, and they also had a lot of books that were foreign language books too, which again, I don't see that often. So yeah, a few regrets, but I know those things will come back my way eventually. But this one I was really excited to find, and it's just a French language book because I only have one other French book in my collection. I use it all the time and I'm proud of myself. I mean, I'm using it. And the pages are dwindling down. So this was a good find. Some of this is in English and then some is in French. So yeah, this one will get taken apart and used. And the price wasn't too bad, $2.29, sort of what I find here in Southern California. So that was a fun find. And then this book I've actually already dug into this past week. I'm working on sort of a Victorian antique style journal. And I specifically picked this book up for that. This is $2.29 and it's called Flowers and Art from East and West. And I just think it has beautiful illustrations inside, sort of antique photographs of antique art and that kind of thing. But as you can see, yeah, I've already taken it apart. And these pages are great. I love the size, and I've used, not the image, but I've used the whole pages, folded them in half to be part of some journal signatures. So I just think they're really cool. I like that they're black and white because then I can actually come in and add pockets to the page. I can add little clusters that are colorful. So I think that's going to be really pretty. And there are a few color illustrations as well. These I'll probably use to make tags, these sort of smaller blocks here. Look how beautiful that is. This will be pretty too, to be in a signature. So that was a good find. Let's see, the rest of these things I think all came from New Mexico. I'm probably not really going to remember where I picked them all up, but let's look at this one first. So this was in, I would like to say it was more of an antique store. It was a really fun store in Taos, New Mexico. My husband went and hit the town and we were walking around. I don't know, it was just a really cool store. My husband found a vintage fishing lure. I picked up this book. I think that was it. I think that was the only thing we picked up from that store. But I have a small collection of these Peterson field guides. I have the paperback ones that I, of course, craft with and I use in collage, but I specifically collect these sort of green linen cover ones. I have a little shelf in our family room, and I probably have, I don't know, maybe 10 or so. And I did not have this particular one, which is a field guide to mammals. I think the covers are beautiful. As you know, I'm a sucker for turquoise and greens and blues. I just think it's a beautiful color. And of course, the illustrations are oh so wonderful. Look how cute these are, mice. I would love to find a paperback of this. I haven't ever come across the paperback version of it either. I don't know about those teeth there and the little rats, but look how cute with the chipmunks. So this would be fun to find in a paperback and fussy cut all these images to craft with. But this is definitely going in to my library. And so what I typically do when I find these, I take the jackets off and then I store these elsewhere. And then I just display the books so that you can see the beautiful green covers. This one has a little issue here, but these are so hard to find. I don't mind that little bit of issue here. And then what else do I have here? Let's see, I'll show this next. Oh, this was kind of a funny thing. So one of the other things that we picked up at that Goodwill in Flagstaff, my husband, which was a great find. It's too big for my son, but it does fit Jim, my husband, and kind of fits me. Maybe if I drop a few lbs, but he found a Levi jean jacket, the style that has the Sherpa inside, and it didn't have a price tag. He went and asked one of the people that was working in the Goodwill, and they're like, oh, we'll take it in the back and price it. And they came back and it was only $10.99. I mean, what a steal. But it had this little patch on it that somebody had hand sewed onto it. I have no idea what this is. It says Explorers Club, Roman and Ramblin', and it was just hand stitched on it. So I actually removed it before I washed it, and I thought, well, I'll keep it. Maybe I'll stick it in a journal. Maybe it'd be fun to go, on the cover of a journal, cover of a book. I think be awfully cute. So of course I kept that. And then these items here, I think came from a thrift store that was also in Taos. We hit it up the day that we were pulling out of town, and just some little random things I picked up. This is, and I have to say, really nicely priced. So this is just a pack of little Hallmark stickers that are teacups and teapots. I thought it was awfully sweet, brand new. And then are these Hallmark? Oh, okay, these are Hallmark too. So 1993, maybe those are from the 90s as well. And I love these. These are stickers as well, but they're little images that remind me of what you would find on an antique calling card with the hands. And some of them say hello and thinking of you and true friends. So I thought this was a fun find. How many sheets are here? 1, 2, 3 sheets. All the stickers are there. So again, I thought this would be really fun for that kind of Victorian journal that I'm working on. I think this came from the same store. This is, let me open it, only $1. So that's even better price than that other one I picked up in Durango at the Goodwill there. And this was just a little independent thrift store that was outside of town in Taos. I don't know what the name of it was. So this one is definitely falling apart. It definitely has some issues, but I think, I don't know that I can really save the whole cover to make a journal cover out of, but I thought it was too sweet to leave behind for $1. So I'll come in and do a little fussy cut, maybe a little repair on this little girl here and her. And obviously I'm always using the insides for decoupaging and making ephemera. Let's see, does this have anything fun on it? Let's see. Well, it doesn't have anything super cool in the way of imagery like the little girls, but some of this will be cute. I think we can make little tags or something. And I am working on a sewing journal as well, so this will definitely be used. Let me set this up here. It's a little bit fragile. This I thought was super fun. I'm going to open it up here. I didn't really look, you know, it was taped up and I couldn't see all the pages, but this reminds me of the antique looking Italian papers, right? With the swirls. So it's origami paper. It says here 200 sheets. I'm not sure you can see there. I'm not sure if all 200 are still here, but I could tell they were beautiful. So let's see, are they all, oh, they're all, oh, this is nice too. So they're double-sided. So it looks like there's a solid on the back and then this sort of swirl going on, this paint swirl look, but it does really, isn't that beautiful? It really reminds me of the Italian pages. So this, I'm definitely going to dig in with this. In fact, just looking at it now, I feel inspired to craft with it today. So yeah, we'll probably see this popping up soon in some creative project. Let's see, whoops, there's a little bit of that thing. The other thing I found at that thrift store, again, I found so many index card tabs. It was the trip for all these sort of index card dividers. I had shared a couple packs in my last haul. So this is fun. $1. I'll probably keep these in the case, but this I think would be really fun if I ever decided to jump in and do maybe an index card challenge, you know, card a day, something like that. This would be a fun container to keep it in. But yeah, I'm going to be pulling from here and crafting with these. These are also index cards that aren't those kind of cheapy ones from Dollar Tree that tend to be really lightweight, but these are the sort of older that have the nice weight to it. So that was a fun find. Let's see, what else do I have here? Okay, this book came from, let me pull out my receipt. So this was my only find in Santa Fe. Most of the time we were in Santa Fe, we were just enjoying the history and walking around downtown in the plaza. We had some great meals. We hit up all the art galleries and just had a lovely, lovely, lovely time walking around. If you've never been to Santa Fe, I highly recommend. It was wonderful. We loved the RV park we stayed at. That was a great trip. But this was my only pickup at Savers. And boy, I was looking because I was kind of in the mood to shop, but this was the only thing I picked up and I walked around the whole thing. I looked in the hard goods section, the sort of the bag section, the book section, and this was it. I have to say the selection at my local Savers is actually better. So that was the interesting thing too on this trip to sort of see, I always have this feeling that the thrift stores are a lot better away from home. I don't have that many thrift stores, and of course the prices have really creeped up a lot in past years. And so I just thought I was just gonna come home with tons and tons of treasures, and I didn't find that the thrift stores were a ton better than what I have. I mean, maybe you have to be there at the right time and sort of be lucky and, go often. There's probably a lot of that involved. But other than that, Goodwill, and of course, all the amazing stores in Durango. I don't know. I've come home with a new feeling that even though I only have a few thrift stores, I love the stores I have, and I do regularly find treasures there. So I have a new appreciation for my own thrift stores. Let's just say that. Okay, so this is really fun. This was $1.99. I do have to say it was really well priced. I had a coupon. We had donated some things that I'd cleaned out of the RV that we no longer needed, and I wanted to rehome them. So I did have a coupon in hand with me, but I didn't use it because it was just this one book. But the illustrations in this book are so fun. This is called The Book of Goodnight Stories. Let me see. So first published in 82, and it looks like this is the second reprint in 1984. But look at how fun these illustrations are. They are whimsical. They just have a very particular style. Look at the faces on this little cat and this little mouse here. I thought they would be really fun to do sort of a more modern mixed media type projects. They just have that vibe. This is going to be a really fun book to go through in fussy cut. In fact, I also thought some of the images would maybe be great for kind of Halloween. I don't know, Halloween projects or Halloween journals, just because they were a little bit, like this one here. What is this? Crows with little mushroom hats. Little mushroom hats on. But right, doesn't that have kind of a, I don't know, a little creepy kind of Halloween look? Let's flip some of the other, wait, look how cute, like this little shark. Are you kind of picturing it like I am? I'm picturing using these in more modern mixed media with cool papers, maybe some inks and mark making. That's kind of the style. And like, look at that. I think that would be cute in a little kind of Halloween-y journal. This guy with this little ogre here. So tons of fun. I think this is going to be a fun book to dig in and craft with, and probably sooner than later because I think it's so good. And let's see, the last thing that was from our travel, one of the restaurants that we hit up in Santa Fe, we tried to go to a local eatery that my parents had suggested. They're like, oh, you have to go to this one place. Maybe it was called The Shed. I hope I'm not saying the wrong name, but the wait time was awfully, awfully long. I don't know, it was like an hour and a half wait time to be seated. And so we decided to walk around a little bit, and we stumbled upon a restaurant called the Plaza Cafe. And the really cool thing, the food was wonderful. It was so good. It was such a fun atmosphere. It had a little bit of like a diner look, kind of a 50s diner. The fun thing was when we got the bill to pay, all these little stickers were on the little kind of 50s, that little kind of plastic thing that they put your check on. So how fun. So there were 3 stickers that were on there, and then also this really fun postcard. So it says, Santa Fe's oldest restaurant has been serving highly acclaimed authentic traditional dishes since 1905. Visit one of our 2 locations in Santa Fe, New Mexico for a meal you'll want to write home about. Most definitely, food was delicious, but how fun is that? So this will be fun to add to a travel journal or something to kind of document our trip. So that was fun. And the other fun thing were the napkins, right? I'm kind of a napkin hoarder. We all know how much we love to decoupage with napkin, but look at this. I've never seen a napkin like this in a restaurant. I'm trying to see. So it looks like it's just one layer. I should get out a piece of tape. Should I get out a piece of tape? Okay, let's take a little bit of Scotch tape. I'm sure you all know this little trick here. Let's see if I can separate any of the layers. No, I think it's a single layer. Yeah, I think it's a single layer. I'm gonna work on it too much here. I think this is a single layer. And look isn't it cool? It has such a cool texture. I think this will be really fun to, I don't know, just play with, rip it into little pieces. It says here the Plaza Cafe, Santa Fe, New Mexico. I just thought that was really cool. In fact, when we were sitting there eating, I told Jim, oh my gosh, I love these napkins. And I think we each had like an extra one, and then he even asked for a couple more napkins because he enables me. He knows what I love. So isn't that fun? I thought those were cute. I wanted to share. So definitely go check out that restaurant and eat there if you're in Santa Fe. We ate at the one that was in kind of the old town. And then the last three items I am going to share are from one of our local Salvation Armies. Now, I always say we only have 2 thrift stores. My 2 favorite to go to are the Savers, and we have a small independent one. They are the closest. I can probably get there in, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. The Salvation Army is further away. I don't know if it's still Torrance or officially Redondo Beach. I don't get over there that often. It probably takes me a good half hour maybe to drive over there. And Taylor needed something from the Michaels. That's also where our closest Michaels is. So, of course, I asked her after we finished up at Michaels, I want to go into the Salvation Army. And I'm glad I did because I found some really fun books. I don't know. They don't even have prices. I have no idea how much the books are. I think they just have a price up on the wall. So I can't really share prices, but in fact, it looks like somebody paid $10.50, but I know for sure that's not what I paid. But this is a fun reader. It's around the corner. Let me say maybe 70s. Let's see what the copyright. Well, 1966 is the original, and 1978 is this printing, but I just think the illustrations are a lot of fun. And this one I am definitely going to cut up and craft with because it's newer. A lot of the other readers I have kind of fall into that, antique or maybe a little bit more modern than that. So those are the ones I collect. And this one I do not have a problem digging in and fussy cutting and doing some fun crafts with. But the illustrations are good. And they're that kind of fun 60s vibe and look. Oh, those are cute with the little teddy bears. So that was a good find. This is super cool. I have several of these. I think they're put out by Dover. So they're kind of these clip art books if you're not already familiar with them. And I probably have maybe another 5 or 6 of them. And I really do need to pull them out and start creating with them. But the great thing about them is all the images in here are copyright free. So this says there's over 340 in this particular book, copyright free, which means I can photocopy these and craft with them. And I think this one is super fun. So this is just children's illustrations from vintage books and advertising and that kind of thing. And it is wonderful. Like, look at this, even on the first page. So this must be like a New Year's kind of thing. But aren't those all kinds of fun? There's Valentine's Day. There's some Easter illustrations. Ooh, let's see. Are we going to get lucky? So we have Thanksgiving. We have Christmas. Let there be. Yes. There's even some... Well, maybe this is still Christmas. Let's see. I saw these little guys here, and I thought it was the start of Halloween. Oh, maybe we're not lucky enough to have Halloween, although that cat is pretty cool. But aren't these cool? Oh my gosh. So I'm definitely going to do something fun, and I think I'll probably grab out my other ones for us to have some crafting fun. Okay, so here's Valentine's Day. I'm still on the hunt for some, and these are, I don't know, other things that whoever had this last, they put in to mark some. Look how cute that is. Wouldn't that be cute as a cover to a journal? Well, I'm not finding any specific Halloween, which is maybe a little bit of a bummer. Oh, look at that little, is that like a little nymph or elf? Yeah, I don't think there's anything specific to Halloween in here, but I don't know. I'll have to do another little flip through and see if I get lucky enough. And this one, I did let out a little gasp of excitement when I picked up this. This is A Child's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson, but the most wonderful thing about it is illustrated by one of my favorite illustrators, Yo Fujikawa. If you know his illustrations in his books, you know how fabulous they are. I mean, look at that. So beautiful, so wonderful. And look at this. Okay, so some wonderful child, and I say wonderful because this gives me permission to dig into this book, decided to take his or her crayons and color in some of the black and white illustrations in this book. Maybe it was Erin. Maybe she left her name behind, telltale name, but I love to do this all the time. I love to take black and white illustrations from my vintage books and color them in with pencils, watercolors. Yesterday, Amy from Amazing Amy's Art was on Thursday with us on Vintage Craft and Chat, and she showed us how to use alcohol markers in the proper way. I picked up so many tips from her yesterday, so I will link that below as well. But yes, these black and white images are so fun to add color to add into your journals, make tags and little fussy cuts of, but some of them are black and white and some are color. But look how wonderful they are. And I want to say thank you to Erin. Thank you for doing that, Erin. How stinking cute are these? Oh my gosh. Just wonderful. Cute. Look how cute she is. Aren't they adorable? So cute, right? Oh my gosh. Look at this little kind of moon guy here. So cute. So yeah, this was a fun and exciting find, and that's it. Was a very, very short and sweet haul. Again, I was being very intentional, but I'm super happy with all my finds, everything I brought back. I think these napkins are going to be fun to do something with, and I know within the next couple days, I'm going to be digging into this paper because, oops, it's stuck there, because I think it's so beautiful. So cool. Ooh, maybe it would even be cool paired with, where did I do with it? This book. This fun one, right? Maybe some of these colors would be a cool, kind of cool vibe with that. So anyway, that is it, my friends. Check down in the description for the links I mentioned to the haul video from Durango. Also the fun techniques that Amy shared with us on how to get really great results with alcohol markers. I will see you all in the next video, and thank you for joining me. Bye, friends.